Come ride a wave with UBC Sailing Club.
Welcome to the UBC Sailing How to Rig an FJ tutorial video. As you enter the club room, the first thing you're going to want to do is check the repairs board to make sure there is an FJ that is available and in good repair. Note the number of the boat that you plan to take. You and your crew will need to be properly fitted with life jackets. Remember, they should fit snug, but not tight. Rudders and tillers are stored in this rack. Grab the rudder corresponding to your boat number, and the tiller that goes along with it. Sails or sail bags are hung up. Get the sail with the correct number, and if the sails are out of the bag, be sure to take the sail bag as well so that you can put the sails away after your day out on the water. A backup paddle means you can still make it to shore if the wind dies. Now you have the gear and you can go find your boat. Be sure to close the door behind you as you leave. Boats are numbered at the front of the hull. When you find your boat, place the gear inside of it for easy storage. Now you can move your boat. Note the direction of the wind by looking at the windsock or flag. Remove the foam block behind the boat, and move the boat somewhere that is open and able to be used for rigging. Make sure you're not in the way of any other sailors trying to go on the water. You can use the foam block to support the boat where you want to put it. Make sure the boat is facing into the wind. As you take the sails out of the bag, be sure to not let them touch the concrete. It can damage the sails, and we want to protect them to continue using them for years to come. Once the sails are out of the bag, carefully unroll them and identify your two sails. By putting the sails back in the boat, you can keep them clean from the ground. There should be a jib sail or front sail, and the mainsail, a big sail. The jib is a triangle with three corners: the head, or top, the tack, or front, and the clew at the back, which has jib sheets attached to it. The jib halyard attaches to the base of the mast on the port side. Untie it to loosen the halyard. Do not let go of the halyard at any time during the rigging process. If it gets stuck up the mast, it will be a huge pain to fix for anyone involved. Now, undo the shackle on the other end of the jib halyard and attach it to the head of the jib sail. Attach the tack, or front of the jib, to the bow pin. Make sure the wire inside of the sail is facing forwards. The jib halyard uses a block system to provide additional torque when applying jib tension. Run it through the lines as shown, and then, together with your crew, pull the jib tight. This will serve to hold up the mast while you're sailing. Remember that the jib sail holds up the mast, so you should never have the mainsail rigged while the jib sail is not. When tying the halyard to a horn cleat, wrap it around once, and then crisscross the line. Finally, put a half hitch in the end to hold the knot. Now, coil the excess halyard and store it out of the way. Remember that it's dangerous to lower the jib while you're on the water, so you should make sure you do it correctly on land before you go. The jib should now be nice and tight. Now it's time to rig the mainsail. Untie the halyard and carefully lower the boom onto the boat. Do not drop the boom, it will damage the hull. Have your partner grab the boom and gently lower it down. pull down the main halyard and untie the knot which was holding the boom up. Tie this halyard to the top plastic part of the mainsail in a tight bowline so that it can go all the way to the top of the mast. Notice that any loop in this knot will not let the sail go all the way to the top of the mast and will cause problems while you're sailing on the water. The mainsail feeds inside of the mast. Lift it most of the way up, but don't tighten it up just yet. Before we do that, we have some other prep work that needs to be done. After lifting this mainsail up, tie it off at a cleat in the bottom. Leave some slack in it. Now, feed the bottom of the sail into the boom. It's important that the sail has some slack so that you can do this without putting too much unnecessary tension on the sail. Once the mainsail has been fed into the boom, attach the outhaul as shown. This approach to attaching the outhaul not only keeps it clean and organized, but also provides additional torque and mechanical advantage for pulling the sail out. Now, run the outhaul up to the front and put it through a cleat on the starboard side of the boom. Tie a figure-8 knot at the end of this rope to avoid it from coming out. Now we can put the mainsail the rest of the way up. If it's hard to pull, check that the main sheet is untied and can run freely. The mainsail, like the jib sail, uses a torque system to provide extra mechanical advantage and get the sail all the way to the top. Attach that as shown, and then tighten the sail before tying the halyard off around the horn cleat. Coil up the extra main halyard, and once again store it away so that it does not interfere with you when you're sailing on the water. The Cunningham goes from the port side of the mast, through the mainsail, and then down to a cleat on the starboard side of the mast. Once again, tie an 8 knot in the end of this line to prevent it from coming out while sailing. When rigging jib sheets, make sure they go inside the shrouds, which are the wires that hold the mast up. Put the sheets through the block and make sure that the direction of the ratchet is in the correct direction so that you can pull the sail in easily, but it will have some resistance to going out. Tie a figure-8 knot in the end so that it doesn't come loose while sailing. Now you need to tighten the tennis ball plug in the back of the boat. It attaches via a bungee cord inside the hull. Forgetting this plug can lead to a sinking boat, so it's important that you check that you do this properly and that it seals cleanly. There are also plugs on the side pontoons of the boat, which must be put in. Tighten each side snug, but don't over-tighten it. The rudder attaches to the back of the boat. Then, the tiller will be inserted through the gap in the back. The rudder control line goes through the cleat on the tiller, but make sure that the rudder is up and not scraping on the ground while you're on land. Make sure you have the necessary safety equipment. A paddle and a bailer is essential for a safe day on the water. Now, double check the plugs. Again, forgetting these can lead to a sinking boat. You're now ready to go. Pose for a picture and have a nice day on the water.
Brought to you by the UBC Sailing Club.